name, brother?
So my name is Tyrik Jackson. I go by my Instagram handle. I am Tyrik Jackson. That's IAMTYRIK JACKSON. That's actually on all my handles. So everything, social media, I am Tyrik Jackson.
And everything's going to be also linked in the comments section of this video going up on YouTube. How old are you, sir?
So I am 42 years old. I just turned 42 January 30th. So it's the beginning of a new decade. You know, I turned 42.
Yeah. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Born at a hospital, St. Joseph Hospital. It no longer exists. And I've been in the barbering industry more than half of my life. 28 years in the barbershop and in the barbering industry, 42 years on this earth.
Gotcha. So, how was your upbringing? What type of child you come from? You come from two-parent home, one-parent home?
So no, I come from a split home. My mom and dad separated. They were never married. My mom got pregnant with me at 17, dropped out of high school.
Okay.
My dad was a hard worker. He worked hard. Although our family was split, we got a lot of love from both mom and dad. They really spent a lot of time loving on us and loving in us. Mm-hmm. They invested a lot in us. Be kind. Treat people with respect.
Yeah.
Regardless of your views on certain things, we always treat everybody with respect. So those were values that my mom and dad instilled in us, even though we were a divided family.
Yeah. Okay. And did it come at a certain age where did your parents divorce at a certain age, or from the time you can remember?
So they never married. They call, you know, the Puerto Rican marriage, where you together 8 years legally, y'all just married, right?
Yeah.
So my parents never married. I grew up, and my dad was in and out of the house at times growing up. You know, he was always there with us emotionally, but physically, he wasn't always there. I remember seasons where he'd be gone for a couple months, and then he'd be back in the house and be gone for a couple months. So I didn't have him in there 100% of the time, all the time. When I was about 11 years old, my parents got into a really big fight. My dad was an alcoholic. My real father was a heroin addict. And
so now, when you speak of dad, are you referring to your real father?
When I say dad, I'm talking about the man who raised me. He'd been with my mom since she was pregnant with me.
Okay, so your stepfather?
Dad.
Dad? Oh, your father?
I don't call him stepdad.
Okay. Okay, got you. Yeah, just for clarification for the viewers.
So my dad is the man who raised me. He got with my mom.
Yes.
She was pregnant with me. He took me under him, and I'm actually named from his family. My real father was a Rivera.
Okay.
I don't carry the Rivera name. So I carry the Jackson name, which is my dad who raised me. My real father was a heroin addict. Mm-hmm. My dad who raised me was an alcoholic. He probably used every drug under the sun.
Yeah.
But he was known as an alcoholic. Like, he worked real hard. On the weekends, he drank hard.
Gotcha.
You know, so, you know, I know Fridays was a payday. And on Fridays, it was cool because we got to go to Ponderosa, you know, with the whole family and do that. So that was a lot of fun. We got to do, he got to enjoy Dad's check a little bit, you know what I mean? He'd go get us a little gift and take us out to eat at the time it wasn't buffet, it was just Ponderosa. You got the steak and maybe a little salad bar or something. And that was fun. That's a memory that I always had with my dad when he got paid. But I also knew that night, he was drinking and he was going to chill. Yeah, so my parents separated because of alcoholism and drug abuse. You know, my dad was very abusive to my mom. And they were abusive to one another in a lot of different ways. So I grew up in that abusive environment. Once my dad left, I was around 11 years old, he got arrested. And he went to jail for a whole year. He actually beat up 2 cops during the arrest. Broke one of the police officers' arm and the other police officer's leg, which put him in jail for a year.
Yeah.
You know, they gave him some serious time in there. But he came back a new person. I know a lot of people, they go to jail and while they're in jail, they're new. Then they come home and be the same person. My dad really came back a new person. You can see it in his actions and his attitude. I started serving at a church and serving at a church ministry. where he was a security for a long time. He was like the pastor's armor bearer for a long, long time. He did like the parking lot ministry. He was more like the
all in the Lancaster area.
Oh, in Lancaster, yeah, yeah. But he was more of the hospitable. Like he was part of that side of the ministry. Like we're gonna greet everyone when they come in. We're gonna connect with everyone. We're gonna make sure you're parked safe. We're gonna walk you safely to your car. Things like that. So that was part of his, and security. So that was his ministry, and he loved doing. He was in the military.
Okay.
So growing up in the military, it felt right in line with, this is my mission, this is my job, this is my task. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. So that's pretty much what my upbringing was like with them.
All right. As a youth, besides you said like the household domestic stuff that was going on, did you have any other influences negatively wise? You know, like.
So yeah, I had 3 uncles die of cirrhosis of the liver before I graduated. Well, from the time I graduated my senior year in high school to that next year. So in 1 year span, I lost 4 uncles to cirrhosis of the liver. They all drank, they all died. I had another uncle who was in Puerto Rico for murder. Okay. He came home and he lived with us for a while. I found him in my bathroom with a needle in his arm, OD'd, but they revived him, brought him back. He worked for me a couple summers ago doing my patio. I did landscaping and hardscaping, you know, as a trade in tech school before I graduated from high school. And so what I did was in doing that, I learned a lot of different trades, some electrical work, some plumbing, some carpentry and masonry, and I did bricklaying. So one summer I wanted to do a patio in my yard. I hired somebody, it didn't work out, and then I went and did it myself, and my uncle came to help me. And I remember him telling me that he was afraid that summer, and I was like, what are you afraid of? And he said, success. And I was like, why? He goes, this is the longest I've been out of jail and not in trouble, and I know that I'm gonna do something stupid. It's gonna cost me my freedom.
That's self-sabotage.
And he did. A self-fulfilling prophecy. He told himself what was going to happen, and literally 2 weeks later, he ended up attempted murder. He stabbed somebody and robbed them because they were disrespecting his girlfriend or something, and he's in jail. You know, so I didn't have many positive male influences around me, other than the fact that my dad worked really, really hard, and he turned his life around. But I didn't have many male role models, any business role models. It was only until 8th grade, there was a female. Her name was Karen White. She was a principal, and that's my whole story with her, and to this day is a really interesting story all by itself. But I remember going to get in trouble. I was fighting in junior high school, and someone caught me. I got in trouble, went to the office, and she was trying to figure out what she was going to do with me. So I was sitting there, and I started singing a song, and she started saying, like, what are you saying? I was saying, you're jiggling, baby. Go ahead, baby. You're jiggling, baby. And so she said, do you know what you're saying? I was like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm saying. You're jiggling, baby. Go ahead, baby. And she started laughing at me. She put her work to the side, and then she said, she pulled out my progress report. She looked at my grades. And she used to be a math teacher. She was assistant principal. So she asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You know, every kid, I'm gonna do everything under the book. I'm gonna do all this stuff. And she said, really? All right, since you like to sing, we're gonna figure this out. She made me come to her office. No, I kept getting in trouble. I'm sorry, I kept getting in trouble a little bit. But she drove me home in her BMW. And it really was the motivating factor for me. It wasn't the person, it was the thing. So I always wanted a BMW as a kid. And here I am, the principal of the school is driving me home because I did something wrong. And so while I'm going home, she then checked and said, hey, so I kept doing little things to get in trouble. It was about the 3rd time I went to her office. She said, why do you keep doing little stupid stuff? And now you keep finding yourself in my office. What's up with you? And I said, I just want to drive home in the BMW. So she said, okay, is that what it is? I was like, yeah. At this time, I didn't know any successful women Outside of my grandma, who had a job and had a banging little Camaro. She worked hard though. She slept. I hardly saw her because she worked all day long. She worked all night long, slept all day long, cooked dinner for the kids, went to sleep, went to work. But on the weekends, she would armor all and clean her Camaro, T-top Camaro. So I saw that as success to me as a kid, but I wanted a BMW. Here was this black woman. She was a principal of a school. She owned a BMW, and she was driving me home. Little poor kid from the hood, you know, and when she drove me home, and I told her that was the reason that I was continue to go back to her office for little stupid stuff, little infractions, nothing crazy. She said, what we'll do is we'll find out from your mom if it's okay. If you bring your grades up and you get a certain GPA, I'll ride you home for the rest of the year. Because at that time, I was on a school bus, the yellow school bus. So, yellow school bus, BMW, I'll take the BMW.
Exactly.
So, what I got was more valuable than the ride, was her imparting her truth to me. She would talk to me. She would share things with me. She would tutor me. Not only that, I wanted to sing. So I remember one day she said, do you have a business jacket? And I was like, what's that? She's like, you know, like a suit jacket. And I was like, no. She says, well, you need to get one. And I was like, why? She goes, because on Friday, I'm taking you to see the Boys Harlem Choir at the Fulton Opera House. The Fulton Opera House is probably 5 minutes from my house. I've never been in there. I've always seen older white people coming out of there. It was an opera house. I was a kid, Puerto Rican kid from the hood. Like I ain't never seen none of me coming out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
So here was the Boys Harlem Choir, all black choir, singing with suits, and she wanted me to wear a business suit. So I told my mom. She took me to the Seco, which was the secondhand store. You know, now it's like vintage clothing. You know, now it's cool. But back then it wasn't cool, right? Not. So we went. She found me a suit. She tailored it, folded it up, stitched it. Got me some khaki pants and got some old man shoes. Didn't cost me much, big $12, $13 for an entire outfit. And I went to the Boys Harlem Choir. She taught me to open the door for her, getting out the car, to grab her coat, just gentleman chivalry type stuff. And that was more valuable than driving in the BMW. But what she did was she imparted a mindset that if I want something in life, I gotta go out and get it. I needed to position myself in order to obtain it. And it really changed. She was the one person that saw something in me, and she pulled it out of me. You know, she saw something in me, and she